Hi everyone and welcome to the final episode on the Royal Enfield Meteor 350. I've had this bike for a couple of weeks now thanks to Bolton Motorcycles, so if you've missed my first impressions review of this bike straight from when I picked it up from Bolton, I'll leave a link down in the description below. But in this episode, I'll tell you everything I've learned about this bike over the 2 weeks I've had it, and how it's actually been to live with, what I like and what I don't like, and if I actually think it's worth buying in 2022. Now, before I get started, a huge thanks to Shape Art for sponsoring this video. As a French startup company, Shape Art makes smartphone mounts for all kind of bikes. They've been kind enough to send us a few samples for us to use on the new Meteor 350, but I personally find the handlebar mount perfect for this kind of bike. But if you're riding sports bike, there's also one made just for them. This clever smartphone mount uses a very strong magnetic system that holds up to 50 times the weight of a smartphone. It's very easy to use, easy to install, and very stable, even at high speeds. If you're interested, I've left a link down in the description below. There's also a 10% discount code you can use across all the products on their website. Now, let's get back to the video. Welcome back. So, it's honestly absurd that a bike this small can make you giggle this much every time I step on it and ride it. I think this engine is an absolute beast for what it is. If you've missed my review of the classic 350, I'll also leave a link down below so you can check it out. But now, let's get started by talking about the Meteor 350's performance. The 349cc air and oil-cooled engine is a very unique single-cylinder unit that makes just about 20 horsepower at 6,100 RPM and 27 Nm of torque at 4,000. It is ridiculously refined and smooth, but with plenty of character. The lovely exhaust note is grunty and it adds to the overall old-school vibe. Obviously, performance-wise, the Meteor isn't going to win any races, but the engine is set up to have 90% of its torque produced at just around 1,800 RPM. So it's going to be as easy as any bikes to get up to speed and away from traffic from stoplight to stoplight. So if you ask me, where is the Meteor at its best? Well, it will eat up those country lanes with ease, lean over at a very decent angle and cruise on the straight, vibration-free thanks to the balanced shaft. There's plenty of grunt to overtake safely, but perhaps not enough to keep up with faster traffic on the highway. Especially if you're riding over a hill, it's best to drop down to a lower gear and get away safely that way. The top speed just about hits the national speed limit and nothing more, so if you're looking to collect some more points on your license, this is definitely not the bike for you. Now, the riding position is a mix between a laid-back cruiser and a more conventional classic. I could have personally done with further forward foot controls as I'm 6 foot tall, but that's far from uncomfortable. I'd say the riding position is actually very plush and comfortable. The handlebars are neutrally placed and easy to reach. The seat is well padded and the height is only 765mm, so you'll have no problem reaching the ground. The stock mirrors are vibration free until you actually hit the higher RPMs. Then they become a little shaky. Also, during the heat wave here in the UK, with temperatures going well over 30 degrees, the bike did surprisingly well, considering it's only an oil-cooled engine. So just a little bit of heat is to be expected during hot days, but it's not so unbearable. Handling is great, the chassis is impressive, offering light and precise steering. Although there is some wallowing at the rear end and some softness that limits how hard you can push the bike in turns. It's hardly the case you'll find yourself wanting to go fast enough to need any real leaning angle, to be fair. The 41mm fork are good enough to keep the bike in line, and the softly set twin shocks do the best of soaking up the worst bumps. But the 19-inch front wheel and the 17 at the back are the perfect setup for a relaxed cruiser, and as far as I'm concerned, this bike meets expectations in that regard. While feeling agile and lightweight enough to inspire enough confidence for the occasional quick ride to the cafe. It weighs just over 190 kilograms wet, so power to weight ratio doesn't keep the Meteor at the top of the list, but in reality you'll hardly feel the difference between this and another entry-level roadster. The brakes as well have decent enough bite to them and will make the Meteor come to a stop easily enough. At the front, there is a single 300mm disc with a 2-pot bi-brake caliper, and at the rear, there's a 270mm disc with a 1-pot caliper. As standard, the Meteor comes with ABS, LED head and tail lights, and one of the best looking old school meets new school displays in my opinion, with the inclusion of the Tripper navigation display that provides turn-by-turn directions when connected to the Royal Enfield app. I found it to be one of the easiest to use and good looking systems out there. Other than that, there's very little I honestly didn't like about the Meteor. Perhaps the clutch lever could be a little lighter to pull and the brakes a bit more punchy. Also, the gear shift pedal isn't very smooth at times. I found that shifting up with the heel pedal was a little easier than shifting up using the conventional lever. But I suppose that's subjective to whatever you prefer. I don't think there's anything else to say here. Prices start at £4,039 for the Supernova version of the Meteor 350 here at Bolton Motorcycles, or £3,879 for the Fireball or standard model. It's unbelievable value for money considering the cost of ownership as well. The bike was good for well over 65 miles a gallon, but service intervals are twice a year or every 6 months, so just about £200 a year with a £47 annual road tax. And there you have it, guys. I absolutely love this bike, as you can tell from the review, and I'm taking it back to Bolton Motorcycles tomorrow. But you know what? We actually decided that the Meteor 350 should be the subject of our next season of the bike build. It's not going to be this exact model, but we've ordered a brand new one that we're going to customize. Thanks to our partner Tech Bike Parts that provided all of the parts for this bike. Also, a huge thanks to Shea Park once again that has sponsored this video and the whole season 4 of the bike build. I think this pretty much covers it all on the Meteor 350. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this review. If you own this bike and if you've made any changes to make the performance any better or handling, let me know in the comments below. But that's pretty much all for me now. Once again, if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. And I'll catch you on the next one.